Hi, it's Dr. Sonia Doherty, naturopathic doctor. I'm here with my fellow co-founders of Exceptional ND, Dr. Krista Doherty and Dr. Jody Peacock. And we're so excited. I'm personally so excited to interview Dr. Tara Gignac, who's just like a giant and a huge inspiration to me personally. She's a leader in our profession. She's tough, she's smart. You've been actually one of the most inspiring people to me in my life. So I'm super excited.
Oh,
Usually I trip over a lot of my words there, but that one okay. So Dr. Gignac and I met when she was a fourth year intern. And I don't know if you remember this, but you said to Sarah Wire and I, ladies, we have so many tools in our toolkit. This is just the absolute best profession to be in. Our medicine is amazing. And so I'm probably paraphrasing because I'm getting old, but it was amazing. And you helped me fall in love with naturopathic medicine and the power of being a naturopathic doctor and making a difference in people's lives. So thank you so much for taking time today to join us. Yeah, so just a little bit about, Dr. Gignac, because there's a lot here. You're author of at least 3 books.
oh yeah.
Yeah, do you
Okay,
so
I'll look. I put them somewhere
no, I know
special
it.
now. I can't
Yeah,
remember. I know.
escape. I have them here. Escape
I
101,
know.
Healthy Profits, A Practitioner's
Oh,
Journey, The Path to Success for Alternative Health Professionals. So this is just really, again, giving back to the profession and helping us
yeah.
know that we can be both successful in our clinical practice, but also be successful financially and help provide for our families. And I think that's a really super important message. It certainly was for me. And you founded an absolutely lovely clinic that's so well thought of in our naturopathic profession up in Collingwood. So tell us what you're up to now. You were saying just before we got on how happy you are in your personal and professional life. That's lovely to hear.
Well, I can't believe it that I'm actually one of the elders now, which is shocking. Because I've been at this now for, oh gosh, like 22 years, 23 years. So I'm just at a different age and stage. The student loans are paid off. My business is functioning well. I've had, a lot of opportunities to do different things, which is great. My kids are grown up. My kid is grown up. So it's like it's easy to be happy and content and less stressed. I'm gone through menopause. Like so it's just it's a great time of life to be in. So it's easy to be happy.
I love
That's
it.
amazing. You played a huge role in helping us as a profession, become part of the Registered Healthcare Practitioners Act. You were part of, I think, that transition council. You were the first chair, right, of the College of Ontario
Yeah.
Naturopathic Doctors, and
Yeah.
I think that you set us up for such incredible success at that time because it was a tumultuous time, right? It was hard to get
Yeah.
everyone on the same page, and a leader like you was, I think, exactly what we needed. We had a lot of different folks saying different things, and you took the reins, and yeah, I think we
Hmm.
all benefited.
Oh, well, I hope that that's true. It was a tumultuous time. It was a really important time. It was the transition of our profession. Being able to sit at the big kids table, which it should be sitting at the big kids table. We are a valuable, important, and can be an even more valuable and more important part of the healthcare community in Ontario and across Canada, I believe. And we needed the regulatory framework to be able to do that. And we didn't have it in the Drugless Practitioners Act. We really didn't. Do we have it perfectly in the Regulated Healthcare Practitioners Act? Not at all. There's still work to do, but we do have the controlled acts of our own right, which we didn't have before, and people didn't really understand that. We do have access to labs, although not ideally, but we at least have access to them, which in the Drugless Practitioners Act, we didn't. And then there is framework for us to now be able to come into line with the other regulated health professions that we might be able to be part of future problem solving. But this is a titanic healthcare in anywhere, in any regulatory environment, is like moving a massive ship, and it takes time and patience. And we're a strappy little profession, and sometimes we're not patient enough.
I want
Yeah.
it now. I want it
Yeah,
now.
I
We
think she might have
all
been
want it
talking to
now.
us, Chris.
We all want it now. And I think the reason why we want it now speaks to one of our big value propositions as a profession, is that we have the time and really the value system to truly be patient-centered. The conventional medicine wants to be, I think they have a goal to be, but they have so many other challenges to deal with. And we have the time because people pay for our time. We look at people more holistically. And so we tend to understand our patient, their individual needs, what would be good for them in a more wholesome way. And so when we don't have the tools to truly help them, it's very frustrating when we can't access them in the jurisdiction that we're in, when we have the knowledge, skill, and judgment, when we could just get this done and we can't get it done for them. And I think that's why we're impatient and can get frustrated in Ontario, because you're like, come on, man, we can solve this problem for this patient. And we can't, because of just gaps in our regulatory structure. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
When your
I
but
think,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, just like when your buddy you went to school with lives in a different place and they're like, oh, I do it
Yeah.
all the time. And I'm like, I wish I could do that all the time. Like, oh,
Right.
like you're my like, my colleague, my equal. And yeah.
Yes. Like when we have the knowledge, skill, and judgment to truly engage in fulsome care. And if we were in a different jurisdiction, we could just do that. And here we can't. It's just frustrating. It's like I can't work to my full capability to solve the problems for these patients. And the patients that we know and love, because we get to spend so much more time with them and really get into their individual care. So it's like, it's a work in progress in Ontario. And like I said, to go back to that, it is like moving the Titanic. So it takes a long time to make change happen. I mean, it took 15 years to get part of the regulated health into the regulated health professions at all. Like, holy moly.
Yeah.
You got to be patient when you're working with governmental organizations.
I know.
Well, I think it speaks to the passion of naturopathic doctors, and I wish
Yeah.
that there was a way that we could get the regulatory, bodies and the government to understand that it's not that we just want more things, right? It's not coming from this place of like, well, we want to pretend we're exactly like medical doctors, or we're trying to elevate ourselves to a different position. It's so that we can care for our patients and care for them properly and keep them safe.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And it's like, we're also tiny. Like in the regulatory framework in Ontario, we are a tiny profession. So although I think this tiny profession could do amazing things, the government right now, which is really like, they're the big decision makers. I think it's not easy to, but what I really didn't appreciate until I was involved with the regulatory college of like, who's driving the bus here? And the regulatory college has a boss too.
Mhm.
And the boss is the government. And actually the government is driving this bus, really. And the regulatory college is 100% subservient to them. And even though it's been like, what has it been now? 8 years since we've been regulated?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 years.
9.
Like
Yeah.
9 years, like going
Yeah,
on to
yeah.
9 years. It
Yeah.
feels like forever, but in governmental organizations, it hasn't actually been forever at all. 4 of those 8 years were COVID, and the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care had other things going on. Like they just did not give they didn't give a care about us. So it's been, we're still really babies in this process, and the government doesn't know us. They really don't know who we are and what we do, and they have a lot of people, other colleges, talking in their ears about what they think we should and shouldn't do, and how we can come to the table or not come to the table without knowing anything about us. Like no one knows anything about us.
Mhm.
And I think that the best thing that this profession can do in the next 5 years is to be the best possible doctors we can be with our patients every single day. Just keep practicing great healthcare and have our patients talk to their MPs, have us talk to them, just keep solving problems, keep doing the work. We're going to get people's attention because there are big problems in healthcare, as you doctors all know every day, and they cannot keep up. They're certainly not doing any prevention or relatively little prevention. They don't have any time. They're dealing with massive health crises in an aging population. They don't have time to do it. They don't have the health human resource to do it. And we just got to keep doing good work and making sure that our organizations and our stakeholders keep showing the government that we're doing good work. We're part of the solution here. We're not part of the problem here,
For sure. I mean, it's one thing. My husband's in insurance, and he's said for years, if you want to show the government what you're doing, show them the money that you save, right? And
Yeah.
interestingly enough, I'm actually on a project with the Ministry of Children Social Services. What is it, MCCSS?
I know.
Yeah.
And they did the data, and they actually
Yeah.
did the data on 55 patients in a pilot project, and they saw an 80% reduction in their behavior. So they took them from like 4-to-1 care, 3-to-1 care, 2-to-1 care, down to 1-to-1 care. And the numbers say if we took on 1,000 people, they would save $250 million. So that piece in there is we need to start playing the right cards, right? So we need to get that proof, and we've had a little bit of it, but I think we need to go back and show show Kono or show the government, the Ministry of Health, the numbers, right?
Yeah.
The numbers that we can save in healthcare.
For sure. This is the job of our profession in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years, really 10 to 10 years, is let's be great doctors. Let's keep doing the research. Let's show the government that we I hate to say it this way, but that we deserve our seat at the big kids table. Like we're real players here. We're real players.
We're reliable.
We're reliable.
You can count on us. Yeah.
Tara, what do you think in terms of like area of care? Like, because you've obviously been involved a little bit from that government side. Like, where do you think, or where do you see us having like the biggest impact?
As a profession?
Yeah, like being able to, like, if you're going to go and talk to your MP or you're going to get patients to go, like, is it in chronic health care? Is it in autoimmune? Is it women's health? Like, I mean, obviously we can impact all of those areas, but I'm just wondering what you think would, if you've had any kind of conversations around where you think we should come to the table strongest.
Yeah, like I think where we should come to the table, where we should use our, like I think our superpowers. And what is our superpowers? Our superpowers really is in chronic health issues, functional medicine, that space before disease, like true prevention, proaction, right? We're good at that. We help people with hormone balances be balanced. We help people with unexplained fatigue get more energy. We help people with IBS not have it. And these people take up a lot of space and time in doctors' offices and emergency room visits and all of these things for functional healthcare problems. And their doctors don't want any part of it. They don't want to do it. They have no time. Maybe they want to. They have no time to do it. They're dealing with the person who is just stroking out. They're dealing with the people that they have on dialysis. So I feel like that's our value proposition. That's why people are coming to us and giving us money instead of going to the system that is for free. They're coming to us because we can actually solve their functional medicine problems and listen to them and take the time and do the blood test so they can see their blood sugar changing over time, as opposed to just taking the metformin, like all of those things. It's the prevention piece. It's the relationship piece. So I don't think it's about a disease, although that's what the government kind of knows and likes, but
how do you truly track prevention?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I'm not a mathematician. I like patients. I like the job I have.
Sure.
I feel like the preventative piece is obviously what we do really well, but I feel it's
Mhm.
very untrackable.
For
So
sure.
I think as in the ERs, it might be like with this project we're
Yeah.
on with autism, like the average healthcare
Yeah.
cost in Ontario for a person with autism is about $5,000 versus like $800 for, your
Mhm.
neurotypical population. And
Mhm.
50% of the time, if someone ends up in ER with autism, it's because of aggression, right? That's almost
Yeah.
always related to the gut. I think a condition specific approach with some dollars is one of the only ways to get them to wake up. And I've talked to the OAD about this, but to
Yeah.
your point, like we all have to we're like cats. Naturopathic doctors are like beautiful individual cats. It's terrible. It's hard to herd them. It's hard to get them all going the right direction.
For sure. And like, there's honestly just I don't think that there's any one answer. It's like, you guys are doing this research. You got someone else in our profession that's just killing it in the digestive tract. You got someone else that's killing it in autoimmune disease. Like, we all just have to keep doing good medicine, and someone's going to do the research. I'm not a numbers person. I'm a clinician. I don't care about numbers and research. I think it's great evidence-based, but like, I can't answer that question, Jody, right? But some people are out there doing it. And we just have to keep doing it and sharing it and putting all of the energy that we have as a profession to squabble about what's the best modality, and instead put that all out into these wonderful tools that we have in social media, the things that you guys are doing. Like, let's share our magic. And eventually it will all come, because healthcare's got problems in Ontario. We can solve some of them, but the government doesn't know us enough to really trust that we can. And Kono, our regulator, is going to, like, that's their boss. They're regulating what the government is allowing them to regulate. And that the organization as it exists right now is very, it's very good at following all of the rules around putting the patient safety first, and all of those rules, those regulatory rules, are in place for that. And we can argue whether that works or not. That's neither here nor there. But the truth of the matter, the fact that Kono is very good at following those rules, the government likes it.
Yeah.
It means we're regulatable. It means that we should be at the big kids table. We're taking regulation seriously. But when we take it seriously, it's like Kono can't lobby for anything. They regulate what the government says they can do. There's all kinds of things that they could do better and learn. And like, remember, they're also a baby organization. They've not been around for very long. And part of the 8 years they've been around was in COVID, which was crazy. Like, we have to just do a whole reset. Like, like those years in COVID, like nothing happened other than COVID. Like, so even though we've been around for 8-9 years, we actually haven't. We've been around for maybe 5. We're still babies, you know?
I do, and I also really, really wish people and anyone watching this, like, Kono can't lobby. Like when people say I'm frustrated with Kono, or Kono's not doing this, Kono's not doing that, that is literally not Kono's job. That is the OAD's job.
No.
And there's been this sort of like past the responsibility sort of game that people have been playing, but our scope, or what we have access to, or where our seat at the table, that positioning has to come from the OAD. And so I would love to hear, Tara, what you think naturopaths should do, young and old, who want to help, this titanic ship, as you put it, shift as fast as possible.
We want to,
we need to put the effort in.
For sure. For sure. And I think that that's like, it's so, I mean, I've now been able to be involved with the CCNM, the OAND, the College of Naturopaths. It's really valuable to lend some of your time to these organizations. A, it's really valuable to the organization, and B, it's also, you get to truly learn what's going on in the profession, right? It's sometimes easy to comment from the cheap seats that like, this is, this so-and-so O&D's crappy and this Kono's crappy, like everything's crappy, but you're actually not involved in it. So you don't know the challenges that they're having, the struggles that they're having, that whatever, right? Like, all the organizations are doing what they can do with what they got. So when you get involved, you get to actually learn what's going on. And then you also can figure out what you can use your unique ability to help. Like, for example, I'm never going to be a researcher. I'm not going to crunch the numbers. That's not going to be how I can help this profession. But there are other people out there, they love that. They're so good at it. They can put together a piece of research like you, Sonia, that like is really valuable to the profession. And one doesn't know how they can help until they actually like try it, just be involved, go to conventions, sit on a committee for Kono. Like, you don't have to be the chair of Kono to get involved in Kono. You can sit on a QA committee. You can sit on, I'm sure the OND has all kinds of things you can volunteer for. The point of the story is get involved, like help out. We need all hands on deck. We actually need all hands on deck.
And I would say that extends out into your community too, because if you want to make a political difference, then that political difference starts at the school board level, at the trustee level, at the councilman level, right? That's where you learn to, you meet your mayor, you meet your MPP, your MVP, like that stuff.
Sure.
You have to be involved. Politics changes from local involvement. So,
sure.
you know, us trying to get a hold of LG and the Minister of Health and the Prime Minister, it's like, well, the person you're talking to is like a kilometer from you, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And go talk to them and go like, you know, not with a list of, you know, with pitchforks and a list of, but go talk and have conversations. And like, this is also, got an idea forming in my head. It's like our abilities as naturopathic doctors to look at the whole picture and understand what's going on. We are so good at it with our patients. Again, it's like one of our value propositions. And it's a skill set that I think we can bring to other areas of our lives, and certainly can bring to this issue. Is like, you know, is look at the whole picture. What is going on? How can we rebalance this? Who, you know, who are the players and how can we be supportive there? If we used our naturopathic skills really with these problems too, then, you know, seek to understand, ask lots of questions, try and get to the root of the problem in our stakeholders or organizations in these issues, like we would really move things forward. Like, be naturopaths everywhere, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's silly.
Decisions are made by the people who show up, right? And it's like, if you're coaching or you're part of a running community or you're sitting on your councils, or Chris has sat on public health committees and prenatal committees and breastfeeding committees, like involvement, like show up for your community just the way you show up for your patients and your family.
For sure. And use your skills. Like, we are so uniquely trained. Like, we truly are so uniquely trained to look at the whole picture. You know, if you think of our conventional medicine colleagues that are like, they're trained to look at algorithms, you know, and like decision trees. And that's really valuable. I'm not slagging that off, but like, we are actually trained to look at the whole thing, right? We should be using those magical skills. It's part of our unique ability. Like, you know?
Oh, I love it.
Yep. It's what we're trying to teach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know how often with young docs or interns or, you know, preceptors in the office, and they'll be the young docs particular, oh, this case is so complicated and there's so much going on. I'm like, is there so much going on? There might be a lot of diagnostic codes going on. But let's not worry about treating the diagnostic codes. Let's actually just look at this whole human, right? And what's actually going on with this human. And then they're like, right, you know? And that's a big part of our value proposition. That's what people are paying us the bucks for too. They can go get a diagnostic code managed for free, actually. You know?
And I think in addition to the, you know, the hours and hours of effort and time and energy you've put into like the regulatory piece with the profession, even just accepting students and teaching students and being a mentor changes the profession. So, and I think everyone needs to be doing that. We see this in other professions. It makes them better. And we're terrible at it, to be honest. Like, our clinic is open to students all the time. So students, if you're listening to this, we're in Burlington, you know, on the GO train, easy to get to, with not really with traffic, but yeah. And, you know, Dr. Gignac and whoever else takes preceptors, I think that is huge, because you can't learn about naturopathic medicine for years at school, right? It's the art and practice. So you need to find us elders, because I'm one too now, apparently 21 years old.
Right. For
Yeah.
sure. And that's like, that's medicine. Watch one, do one, teach one, like that is part of the whole process of learning the art of medicine. And, there's nothing, you're going to learn your profession even more if you have to teach it to someone. And they're going to learn it more if people can actually help them just sit and be. And we don't have a culture of mentorship, but I feel like I want to stop saying that we don't have a culture of mentorship, because we do. Look at what's happening right now. It happens in my office all the time. It happens in your office all the time. There are many offices where it is happening all the time, that people are fostering a culture of mentorship. So like, let's just talk about our culture of mentorship. Let's promote that. Let's do that. Let's just keep talking to each other and saying on social media that we talk to each other. And you just said that, like, oh, students out here, well, we do preceptors. Like, it's not just about meeting your guidelines for CCNM to graduate. Preceptorship is, I still preceptor. If I want to go learn about something, if I decided tomorrow that I wanted to start taking on kids with autism, I would go to you and say, can I preceptor with you? I want to see what you do. You should be preceptoring your whole life.
Yeah.
Like your whole career. It's like continuous learning. That's what the QA isn't about meeting your guidelines with Kono. It's about developing yourself as a practitioner, right?
Yeah.
This is not about checking a box off. It's like you're continuous learning as a practitioner. If you're doing that, you're going to meet all your Kono guidelines. It's not about Kono. Like,
Yeah.
if it's about Kono, you might be missing the point. Like,
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
about you becoming a better doctor, right?
Yeah.
And being the best
Right.
doctor you can be to help as many patients as you can, right?
100%. It's not about, so I don't know. I think we do have a culture of mentorship, and I want to speak about it more. Like, I want to say that out loud more. One of the commitments that I made with one of our other colleagues last year, which we were like, oh, naturopaths, these young naturopaths, and they're like, do you know what's work? And like just complaining about our profession in all the ways that we can complain about our profession. We're so hard on each other. It's crazy. And we were having coffee, and I said, you know what, I am 100% committed to changing the narrative and how we talk about our profession, how I talk about our profession, because it's actually not true. There are many docs out there that are mentoring. There are many clinics out there that are killing it. There are many doctors that are making great livings. There are many new grads that are working, like just working and killing it and engaged, and like, I would keep wanting to talk about those guys, and guys I'm using in a gender neutral way.
We're too old. We don't get offended easy.
Right? Like, let's start having let's use different words in our profession, because
Dr. Christina Bajornal, which I feel like I say your poor name wrong every time. I'm so sorry, Dr. Chris, but she said this. She said it in our interview. It was a lovely interview as well. And she talked about we need to use words carefully. So I love that. I love that. And part of exceptional ND, at least for me, was like, I want everyone to know how exceptional you are. Like it wasn't, being an exceptional naturopath is a journey, not a destination. And you exemplify that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's a journey until you decide to stop seeing patients, like, and we have this gift in our profession that we can see patients until we cognitively can't. So, I'm 53. I can continue doing this till I'm 83, 93 if I'm cognitively intact. That's amazing,
Yeah.
But if I'm going to keep doing that, I've got to like keep practicing and keep updating and keep, like that's what practicing medicine is all about. So I don't know. It's a funny little sidebar. I don't know how we got there.
I love it. That's why I love these interviews. But yeah, it's like it goes where it should go. And then the people watching can hear all those like clinical nuggets, it's not just clinical pearls, it's like life pearls as naturopath.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I think I want to be mindful of Dr. Tara's time. So do you want to wrap up? And I mean, like, I'm so abrupt.
We would talk to you all day long. Yeah. Chris,
is there anything else you guys want out of me?
I mean, you're an incredibly successful clinic owner, and I think that that should be highlighted and triumphed, because that is something people aspire to. And you know, there's not everyone who's had that level of success. So I think that that's really great. You've got multiple practitioners. You've always had lots of practitioners, and you guys run a tight and amazing ship. Like I said, everyone knows how great Stone Tree is up in Collingwood. So
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. We got a great team. You just got to build a great team to have a good business. Yeah, I guess I'll say the last thing about that, because the business piece is really important, is that we don't have, if you're going to be a naturopath, we don't have the privilege of getting paid for sure, right? So my friends and colleagues who are in conventional medicine, they get paid for sure, and we don't have that. And so we are, even though conventional docs are also in business, they have practices and staff and all that stuff, but they are going to for sure know that if they see the patients, they're going to get paid for it. And we don't know that we're going to for sure see patients. We have to market ourselves. People don't understand the problems that we solve necessarily. They don't understand our value proposition. We are in essence competing with free, in a way, because people are used to getting healthcare covered in our culture. They don't understand what paying for healthcare is all about. So that can be a challenge. So whether we like it or not, we're also in business as naturopathic doctors. There are very few spaces in our profession where you can have just a salaried income. And many of the new grads, and I will talk to any student and any new grad about business at any time. They just have to message me. You guys can put up my email address. I'm always happy to mentor people from a business perspective, and understand that, like, if you want to pay off your student loans, you have to make money at what we do. And like, that's really tough for a lot of the new grads, is to understand that we actually have to build a business. You have to invest in that business. Many new grads are like, they've invested in essence $250,000 to get their designation, and then they're like, yep, not spending another dollar. Right? Most businesses take 5 years to truly get their feet under them. I know that I didn't get paid. I didn't get paid in any real meaningful way for almost 4 years of being in practice. Like, fortunately, I had a husband that was able to help me just reinvest in my business. And I had to take on business debt when I started, for sure. And I see the new grads not necessarily appreciating, like, the investment in school is just the first step. You now have to invest in your business. Whether you're investing in an associate agreement, that's still a sole proprietorship. Whether you're investing in your own clinic, like, you have to take off your ND hat and you got to put on a business hat and, like, make a business plan. And how are you going to market this? And how are you going to, what is this clinic that I'm associating with going to do for me? What are they not going to do for me? Like, the split isn't as important as, like, what is in that split. Like, there needs to be some business acumen. And the CCNM, in fairness, their job is to make sure that these these students graduate and they have the medical ability to not kill anyone and to be valuable, like, to be base level clinicians. They don't have 4 years to also teach them how to be business people. Like, that's a whole other skill set.
Yeah.
So,
They have degrees called business degrees. It's a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It took me years. Like, I don't know how many business books I read, how much business coaching I did, the tens of thousands of dollars in seminars and like, just and like loans, and just getting something wrong and hiring someone and not know what you're doing. Like, you have to, whether we like it or not, we have to invest in some way, small or big, in learning how to be business people. And you just have to accept it. That's what's up. And then there's no easy way. There's just no easy way. You just got to do it. So start reading business books now. Any students listening to this, like, start now. Get a business mentor. someone in the community that you're going to be in has a service-based business. It doesn't even need to be a healthcare business, has a service-based business that is healthy and well and viable. Take them out for coffee, ask them to be an accountability partner and a business mentor for you. Like, start learning that now. And, but mostly just accept that that's part of the game. You have to do it. You have to do it. With all of my docs, we talk about business, because if your practice isn't growing, working, making money, you can't pay your student loans, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your mortgages, you can't, like, it's just part of it, and you just have to accept it.
Yeah, it's not a dirty word. Yeah.
I think
You know?
it's so important. Yeah. I feel like, I hope all kinds of students watch this, and even, young NDs or NDs who've been out but need to put more of that kind of focus on business. But no, thank you. This has been such an awesome chat. I think you're just you're such a star in our profession. So all these, yeah, you really are, from a clinical standpoint to a business running standpoint to leadership within the, showing up and helping to make decisions and making the hard choices. So very, very hardworking, smart lady. So thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to say to you guys that I appreciate you, because you guys are like warriors in this profession. And, I'm grateful for that you, all of you, when you see something that needs to change, you don't just stand at the sidelines and complain about something needing to change. You actually get in there and do it. So thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tara.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love you all.
We love you too. That's the best thing to end on.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, docs.